Good day, students. My name is Mr. Young, and I don't feel that well today, but I do want to help my fiance. She's making herself a logo, and in that there are tin cans, which I would like to help her, and I'm hoping that this tutorial can. So let's start by, as you can see, I have my cool user layout that I made in the last tutorial. Well, we're going to start by making an ellipse, which is going to be like the top of the can. It's already a nice gray color. So we're going to switch to the black arrow tool, which is the V key, holding Alt down and Shift. You define how tall you want the can to be, and then let go. So now you have the top and the bottom, and we're going to change colors just so that we can see the difference. But be sure you deselect everything before you change colors, or else you will change the selected item, which I didn't want. Now, because snap is on, it snaps right to the anchor of this. Oh crap, I moved it. I didn't want that. So Control Z, and we're gonna make a rectangle from this anchor point up to this anchor point. And apparently it did not change the color as I thought it would have before. But let's change it to just something different for right now. So again, switch to your black arrow tool by hitting V and hold down Shift and click on the bottom and go to Pathfinder and click Unite, so that you see that makes one object out of both the bottom and the square. So it's kind of a rounded square, rounded bottom square, which gives the impression of it looking like a cylinder. Now for color, we're just gonna go with. They have in the pull-down menu. It has a very standard very standard looking linear gradient, which is perfect for a can. Now, because we want the edges to be a little bit different from the middle, right now the middle is transparent. You can see opacity is 0. So we want to increase that to 100, but obviously we do not want it black. So from the swatches menu, just drag the white color onto the middle, and it appears as white. Actually, I don't know if we want white as the color of the can. Let's go with the third color down from. I think I messed up in that there are numerous arrows in the center, which we do not want. So we get rid of them by clicking on them and dragging them down. Again, do that to this one. So now there's only one, and drag it to above the middle. You can see the number and the location below. In fact, I believe if you could double click this, and okay, double clicking is not working, but you can select it all and just type 50. That's just 50%. so it puts it exactly in the middle. Now we don't want the edges to be totally black on there, so maybe a darker gray. So we just drag that darker gray color over to both of the sides. Now we want this to be more the light color gray and less of the dark. So we extend the sides of this outwards a bit. It just changes the amount of dark gray color, how it gradiates into the light gray color. Which that's alright. It's not perfect, but it's good enough. Because we're not focusing on the can anyway. So because we're on our black arrow tool, we click on the lid and we hold Control square bracket up, or square bracket right, which is up. So it moves the lid to the top of the layer. And if you deselect, you see you have a nice lid can. You know, in fact, if you want, we could change this to a. Well, let's not go with the gray. Let's go with the. We're obviously not keeping these colors, but in the gradient menu, we're going to switch it to radial. And in fact, we're going to drag down one of the white boxes and drag the blue right to the end so that the gradation goes from one color to another. And we're going to choose, well, let's choose that dark gray for the end color and a light gray for the first color, not white. And obviously this needs a bit of tweaking, so click on your gradient tool or hit G, and this allows you to what it allows you to do is stretch the gradient down so that it fits a little better, and then you can also pull this out so that it's going right to the edge, and it's a lot of tweaking if you want to get it exactly right. But let's go back to the black arrow tool and click off it to deselect. Right, that's not as good as I would like to see it, but it's alright for now. Let's move on and create the label, which is the whole reason why we're doing this. So again, we start by creating a rectangle, and it's going to make the color of the rectangle that circular color, which we don't really want. So what we do is just change it, and because, well, I'm gonna make this can of peas, and you start by making the label right across the whole thing. In fact, we could have kept that we could have kept that gradient to it. So apply this and click on the arrow and make it a radial gradient. And again, we get rid of that one, and and move that to the end. You can, once you do this, you can create a swatch so that you don't have to do that again, which I think I'll do right after I do this. But we want to make it, well, this is for the can label of peas, so it's going to be green and light green. I'm not going to go with the yellow green, but lighter green. And you see, these are opposite of what I want. I want the letter color in the middle, so you hit this button here to switch them. And again, we have the gradient tool, or a G. And because, oops, this is still set very low, so we're going to switch it back to around 50. I'm not going to worry about making it exact. You know what, that's totally unlike me, so I am going to make it exact. You just select it and type 50 and click enter to finish. Now for this, we're going to change the hotspot location, and we're also going to drag the point out, and I think that's all we're going to do for this. Now we're going to make a type, so we'll change to the type tool, which is T, and just click once. Don't drag a box around it. Clicking once allows you to type into and it doesn't define where your text has to go, so it could be anywhere. So we're just going to type keys, and we're going to click the black arrow. Now we're going to scale this up a little. And again, you can straighten the proportions by holding shift. If you don't, you see it stretches all funny. But if you use shift, it keeps it in line. So actually, I'm just going to I'm going to pull it so that it snaps in line with the edges of the label, which you don't really have to, but I will anyway. Now, for this next step, I'm just going to pull this away so that you can see how it works. Now we're going to select both by holding shift. You have the piece selected, and you selected the label, and you want to align to and pull that down to key object. Now it doesn't tell you, unless you hover over it, that to define the key object you have to click on it. So we do that, and you see a blue square appears around the label, which makes it the key object. So we're going to align it horizontally and align it vertically. That way you know it's exactly in the center. And you click off it to make sure that it's that it works. It's working the way that it's done. So what you want to do then is go back and select both the text and the label by holding shift, and in fact you can right click and choose oh, you know what, it's not available yet because it's not grouped yet. So choose object group or Control G, and then right click on and just isolate selected group. Now that makes everything fade out a little bit, but as you can see, you cannot click anything but the, so just drag a box to select both, and do object, envelope, distort, make with mesh. Now I've done this before, so I've set the rows to 1 and the columns to 2, and you hit preview to see that. You see the rows, there is only one row, and there are 2 columns, which just puts the center bar down the middle, and you hit OK. Now you use the white arrow tool, which you access by hitting A, and you start by selecting off of it. To deselect it, then you move. In fact, what you can do is lock, is you can hold shift to lock that in place, and you want to you hold shift after you move them, and so that looks alright, but you can see the corners are still, the handle are still aiming to where it used to be. So we click, and again you can hold shift, so it moves down, and you can lock it in line with the remember to grab the handle first and then hit shift. You're basically aligning it to the new position of where the center versi is. Now this one, I'm just gonna move down a little bit more. Oh, I tried that. It looks like crap, so I'm not going to. The bottom one, however, I think I am going to move down a bit more. Alright, it's not perfect, but I think you get the idea. So, to create a bit of a distortion in the middle, as you can see, if you drag this handle, the mirror function, it applies to both. So you know that the line will be smooth no matter what. If you let go here, it's still smooth, but you don't want that. So hit Control Z to cancel that, and click first and then hold shift. It allows you to move this side a little bit, and do the same with this one. Click first and then hold shift, and move it a bit too, and do the same to the bottom. It just gives an impression of distortion. Like the center of the can is a bit bigger because of perspective. You know, I don't like how these top lines are curving inwards a bit. So I'm just going to freehand this, move the handles up a little. I really don't like how that looks, but in fact, to increase the look of, you know, I should have just done that. I don't know if I can undo enough to, yes I did. So instead of expanding the center, I'm going to is make the side handle smaller, so it pulls the sides in a bit more, similar to how perspective pulls an object around the can. You can see that it's somewhat doing the same, but oops, I accidentally clicked the middle and I clicked off the handle. So you have to make sure that the handle label pops up. Anyway, this isn't perfect, but you get the point. And now after you've done all your distorting, you click Object, Envelope, Distort, Expand. So then it creates all the shapes expanded, so that if you wanted to, you could go and change the peas could have like a gradient color to them. In fact, let's do that anyway. So to select more than one thing, you hold the shift key down, and it allows you to pick multiple objects, and from your swatch panel you can just click and drag things over, but all of that only works per thing, so we're just gonna quickly do it to all of them. Oh, you know what? We don't even have to. If you click Pathfinder Unite, they all become one object. So even if you click off it and click back on it, or still in the white arrow tool, that's why. So if you click off it and click on it, oh, this is still grouped, which for this we don't want, but most of the time you do, but not now. So that now selects all of the things. You know, I didn't set a swatch for this like I said I would have. Again, we're going to set the gradient to exactly 50. I'm kind of a perfectionist, I guess you could say. And but what we're going to do is hit the gradient tool, and in fact, I believe, well, that should be okay. Let's drag some new colors in there. Now the blue we're going to want to replace with, say, yellow. And the white we're going to replace with, let's replace it with yellow-green. Okay, that doesn't appear to be enough of a difference. Let's take out one of the actual greens and see, it kind of works, but so what we're going to do is effect stylize drop shadow, which this is written our way, so we're just going to move the window a bit. Okay, if you click the preview on, you see actually the 7 point is pretty good. In fact, let's change that back to 0 point in X. so that it's more centralized, and the draw shadow is just falling under the object. It's got a 5-point blur to it, which is already this. You know, let's try and change the color a little bit. From a black to a dark green, I think. So that doesn't let you see it in real time, but luckily I looked out and that looks alright as is. So we hit OK, and it's all done then. You can just deselect it, and you can over your final presentation. Now, to make it one object, you can drag a box around the whole thing. Oh, you know what? We're still in isolation mode. So we're going to exit isolation mode so that we can access everything, and you select everything and hit object group. That way, when you go to select one thing, it selects everything, and then you can stress the That's enough of my playing around. So go on and explore yourself and try to make stuff yourself with the envelope to store tool. As always, this is Mr. Young with the friggin' lawnmower outside. But remember, keep drawing.